There is a moment somewhere after 40 where something begins to shift, not suddenly, not dramatically, but with a kind of quiet insistence that can no longer be ignored. It's not a crisis. It's not a breakdown. It's something far more precise than that. It is the slow realization that certain things you've been carrying no longer fit, not because they were always wrong, but because you are no longer the person who needed them. And this is what most people misunderstand about this stage of life. They assume that change after 40 is about loss, about decline, about things being taken from you. But that is not what is happening. What is actually happening is subtraction by clarity. You are not losing things. You are finally seeing which things were never truly yours to begin with, which beliefs were borrowed, which patterns were inherited, which identities were constructed not out of truth, but out of necessity. And once that seeing begins, it does not stop. Because clarity after 40 is not theoretical, it is experiential. You have lived long enough to recognize patterns. You have failed enough to understand what doesn't work. You have given enough to know the difference between generosity and self-erasure. And all of that accumulated experience begins to press against structures that no longer hold weight. So the question is not whether things will change. They will. The question is whether you will participate in that change consciously or resist it until it breaks something you weren't ready to lose. There are two things in particular that must be allowed to die after 40. Not adjusted, not reduced, not managed, released entirely. Because they are not just habits, they are operating systems. And they have been running your decisions, your relationships, and your sense of self for longer than you realize. The first is the need to be perceived as capable by everyone around you. This one runs deep, and it starts much earlier than most people think. Somewhere in your 20s or 30s, you built a version of yourself that was designed to function, to perform, to meet expectation. You learned how to show up even when you were empty. You learned how to hold things together when everything inside you was fracturing, and you were rewarded for it, not with rest, not with understanding, but with more responsibility, more expectation, more people depending on the version of you that never breaks. And so you kept performing, not because it felt good, but because it became the only version of yourself that others recognized, the capable one, the reliable one, the one who handles it. And over time, that performance stopped feeling like a role and started feeling like identity. You didn't just act capable, you became afraid of being seen as anything else. This is where the damage compounds. Because when your identity is built around being perceived as strong, you lose access to vulnerability. Not the performative kind, the real kind, the kind where you say, I don't know what I'm doing, and mean it. The kind where you stop before burnout, instead of pushing through it and calling that discipline. The kind where you allow yourself to need something without immediately compensating for it by offering something in return. After 40, the cost of this performance becomes visible in ways it wasn't before. Your body registers it. Your relationships reflect it. Your internal state no longer tolerates the gap between who you are and who you present. And that gap, which once felt manageable, starts to feel like a fracture that is widening with every interaction where you perform instead of exist. Letting this die means accepting something deeply uncomfortable. That some people will not recognize the version of you that is honest. That capability without exhaustion might look like less to people who only valued your output. That rest is not regression. That admitting limitation is not failure. That the version of you that carried everything was necessary once, but continuing to be that version is no longer survival. It is self-destruction, wearing the mask of strength. And once you let that die, something remarkable happens, not immediately, not dramatically, but structurally. You begin to feel your own presence again, not the curated version, the actual one, the one that exists when no one is watching and no one needs anything. And that presence, once recovered, becomes the foundation for everything that follows, because you cannot build a meaningful second half of life on a performance. You can only build it on truth, The second thing that must die is the belief that it is too late. This is the quieter one, the one that doesn't announce itself as a belief at all. It operates in the background, shaping decisions without ever being directly examined. It shows up as hesitation, as practical reasoning, as the voice that says, "Be realistic," which is almost always code for stop wanting. After 40, this belief becomes dangerously convincing, because there is evidence for it. Time has passed, choices have been made. Some doors are objectively no longer open, and the mind uses that evidence to construct a narrative that sounds rational, but is fundamentally distorted. It says because some things are no longer possible, nothing truly new is possible, and that is a lie dressed in logic. What this belief actually protects is not realism. It protects you from the vulnerability of wanting something again. Because wanting something new after 40 means risking failure at an age where failure feels more visible, more public, more permanent. It means admitting that the life you built, the one you were supposed to be satisfied with, is not enough. And that admission feels dangerous because it challenges the story you told yourself to survive the last 2 decades. But here is what most people miss. The discomfort of wanting is not the problem. The suppression of wanting is, because when you stop allowing yourself to desire growth, change, reinvention, you don't find peace. You find resignation. And resignation does not feel like acceptance. It feels like slow erosion. It feels like watching yourself go through motions that no longer carry meaning. It feels like efficiency without purpose. Letting this belief die does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality become a ceiling when it was only ever a floor. It means understanding that experience is not a limitation. It is a resource, that you are not starting over. You are starting from depth, and depth, when combined with clarity, produces something that youth alone never could. Direction without desperation, movement without performance, purpose that is no longer borrowed from expectation, but generated from within. So when people talk about life after 40, as though it is a slow winding down, what they reveal is not truth. It is fear. Fear of irrelevance. Fear of change. Fear that if they allow the old structures to collapse, nothing will replace them. But something always does, not automatically, not easily, but inevitably when the space is made. Because the life you built before 40 was constructed with the tools you had at the time. Some of those tools were brilliant. Some were survival mechanisms. Some were compromises you made before you understood what you were compromising. And now, standing on the other side of that construction, you have something you did not have before. Perspective. And perspective does not ask you to tear everything down. It asks you to stop maintaining what no longer stands on its own. So let the performance die, let the limitation die, not with anger, not with grief, but with the kind of calm, irreversible knowing that only comes from having lived long enough to understand the difference between what kept you going and what will actually carry you forward. Because after 40, the most powerful thing you can do is not hold on harder. It is to finally, deliberately release what was only ever holding you in place.